28-14. Jalen Milroe made some mistakes. He had 3 touchdowns on the ground. Third career game with 250 passing yards and 100 rushing yards. And now Alabama 11-0 when Milroe has 2 rushing touchdowns. For Auburn, finishing with a losing record for the 4th straight year. Now Alabama waits its fate in the CFP. All right, back here with Emory Hunt, Chip Patterson along as well. Jalen Milroe, 3 rushing touchdowns. The recipe for success, who cares if he turns it over 3 times? He runs for 2 or more touchdowns, and they're unbeaten, 11-0.
He makes it an 11-on-11 game, Hakeem and Chip. And here's what I love about what we saw today from Jalen Milroe. Just from a pure draft evaluation standpoint, this was the best he threw the football, in my opinion, because he threw with touch, he threw with timing, he threw with anticipation. And when you look at how he was making his reads and delivering the football with conviction, that's all you want to see from Jalen Milroe. You know the running is in his bag. And yes, he has to protect the football when he's taking off and running, but throwing the football, not making sure everything is a 100-mile-an-hour fastball when he's firing the ball, that was impressive today. I thought this showed you why, in my opinion, he is still a first-round pick, because you can gamble on the talent, and if you can coach up the talent, smooth out the rough edges, you got yourself a superstar at the next level.
Still a first-round pick, huh?
He's 3rd behind, in my opinion, behind Shador, Cam Ward, and Jalen Milroe will be 3rd, because, again, if you pair him up with a QB coach like a Brian Daboll or someone like that that can get the most out of his athleticism and kind of groom him to be that guy like we saw Josh Allen become, like we're seeing from Shane Steichen and Anthony Richardson, and like we saw with Shane Steichen.
You're thinking Brian Daboll's as an offensive coordinator somewhere else, right? Because he's not surviving this season.
Well, wherever he is,
right?
You want
because he couldn't do it with Daniel Jones.
Well, I mean, that's you compare apples to lug nuts with Daniel Jones.
I'm just saying, you want a quarterback whisperer, go to Minnesota.
He can't turn what was never there into something. That's what I'm saying.
Well, look, there was hope.
You always get me to be negative. You got me to be negative about Daniel Jones, but you're right. You need someone like that that can, help smooth out
I'm not trying to get you negative Daniel Jones. I'm just saying, if Brian Daboll's such a quarterback whisperer, he should be able to do that with Daniel Jones. If he can do that with Josh Allen had a ton of turnovers his first season. Great
American poet Allen Iverson said, "I can't make you better." When people say, hey, make your teammates around you better, I can't make you better. I'm Allen Iverson, you be you. And that's what has to happen with someone that gets their hands on a nice mold of clay in Jalen Milroe.
Chip, what do you think of Jalen Milroe? He's got him 3rd off the board quarterback-wise.
I mean, I think Jalen Milroe is a dynamic playmaker who makes me look at Alabama in a way that it is easy to overlook a lot of the flaws. The problem is some of the flaws today were coming from Jalen Milroe. And while I am not well-versed in the NFL draft evaluation, I can say from a college football playoff evaluation, this win did not meet the eye test. The only reason Alabama is still in the college football playoff picture is because this was a win and not a loss, and because this is Alabama with its pedigree and with some of the victories that it has, including that one over the Georgia Bulldogs, which will remain good thanks to Georgia surviving in 8 overtimes. You lost the turnover battle -2. Some of those turnovers were Jalen Milroe's own fault, as you mentioned. I don't think Alabama won this game, gentlemen. I think that Auburn just lost it a little bit more. And Alabama was like, okay, well, fine. If you're just going to leave the door open, I'll come in and take some cookies out of your cookie jar. I was not impressed with the Crimson Tide with this victory. Now, all that said, I do think that defensively, when you're able to get enough stops against an offense that had gotten a little bit of confidence in the last couple of weeks, I think about the veterans on this team, a guy like Tyler Booker, who had been around for so long, and I get to see him after the game really soaking in what it means in Bryant-Denny Stadium, the fans there, winning an Iron Bowl. Now, for Kalen DeBoer, this was very important, no matter the score, as long as it's a win. But for the uninvested party like myself, I look at this Alabama team in this game against Auburn, and I say it's good that you won, but you didn't do anything to check any boxes to show me that you are a championship contender in 2024.
So we look at this CFP, and Alabama fans are going to say, well, we beat South Carolina. We should be in. I would disagree. South Carolina beat a ranked Clemson team today. South Carolina has won 6 in a row. South Carolina looks like the better team, and they have Lenore Sellers back healthy. Remember, he was injured at the beginning of the season. He helped them win that game today with a touchdown that gave them the lead against Clemson. If I'm arguing here, Chip, is it down to Ole Miss in South Carolina, or do we even have Alabama in the conversation just because they're Alabama?
I think that Alabama's win against Georgia, if you want Alabama to be in, that's going to be what everything hinges on, right? And you've got the win against South Carolina. So are you going to put South Carolina in over Alabama? Are you going to take this Crimson Tide team, which absolutely blasted LSU? And then what did LSU do against Ole Miss? I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can tie this pretzel to talk yourself into the Crimson Tide. But that's my point, is you are talking yourself into a result that you've already decided. You're not going to win anybody over with the way that Alabama has played here in recent weeks. I mean, all they had to do after they defeated LSU was play just like even a little bit better, or maybe just not even lose to Oklahoma, and they would be in a much better position on Selection Sunday than they will be at this time. Again, this was a chance for a statement. I don't think they made that statement, though they kept themselves in the mix, at least by winning.
Don't look at me. And listen,
I think Alabama's out.
South Carolina also threw the ball in the 5th row against Alabama. They had a chance to beat them, but just couldn't take
They did.
business.
If I'm putting a 3-loss team in, it's not Alabama. I'm just saying, because I'm really anti 3-loss team, by the way. Go ahead, Chip. Go ahead.
Yeah, see, here's the thing, Hakeem, and a lot of people don't talk about this, and
Yeah,
I
let's
really
talk
wish
about
they
it.
would, because this is a crisis, okay? It's a crisis. It's a misinformation. The thing about a 12-team playoff is you got to put 12 teams in.
You do. That's true.
And if 3-loss teams are what we're picking from for those final spots, then we're taking 3-loss teams.
I know. You want to know why I'm saying I feel like it's a principle thing. We never had a 2-loss team when there were 4 teams, and now we're just going to let a 3-loss team in the playoff. Just we're going to let them in.
Well, we could let a 2-loss team in. The University of Louisiana, those Sun Belt Conference champs. There you go. I fixed it.
Okay. 3-loss teams, come on in. We got to put 12 teams in. They got to put 12 teams in. I can find 12 teams.
I just gave you one. America's team, guys.
I'm putting in Army before I put in one of these 3-loss teams. I'm just letting you know they're going to win the American. Okay.
Shout out to UTEP.
Why? Because of the picks?
Yeah, I'm still on it. That was a great stat.
2007. All right. Well, I'll give you that. They had a 99-yard and a 100-yard pick in the same season. Them and Notre Dame. So congratulations to them. Chip, appreciate the conversation. Emory Hunt here on CBS Sports HQ.